And the PGA Tour season has come to an end. What was to be became. Scottie Scheffler rounding it out at the FedEx Championship. I am Alan Depew, and I am here once again hosting Quiet Please, the golf podcast. And we appreciate you listening wherever you are listening on any of the podcast channels. If you can reach over there and give us a follow, maybe a little five-star review. If you are watching our new golf channel, or excuse me, our YouTube channel, please respond with some comments there. We always like to get feedback from everyone out there as we talk a little golf. And as always, I am joined on our panel. We're playing in a foursome today. As always, the ever-present one, the golfing savant from Houston, Mr. Andy Heidorn. Greetings, Andy.
Greetings to all of you fine gentlemen.
And to my bottom right, we know him as Christian. You know him as the prettiest podcaster in golf. And if you are watching the YouTube channel, now you'll understand why. Just look at him. He's so cute. Christian, where you been, boy?
I've been all around the country, honestly. I'm never home anymore.
Well,
different time zones.
We need to catch up on that, I'm sure. But rounding out our foursome, and a true honor to have him with us, Kirk Coburn, the founder, PGA Tour Radio, just pretty much everything golf. If you've been on Sirius before, it started with him. Kirk, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out to join the panel today.
It's great to be here. I thought you guys were going to invite me because I'm probably the best golfer anyone has ever seen from tee to 1 foot out. And you needed a guy to explain what happens in those 12 inches that you just can't get it done. And that probably was a euphemism in there too, but I'm glad to be here, guys.
Well, at some point in time, Andy's going to probably throw in that my shoulder turn is 69 degrees. So, I mean,
damn. All right, we're on the right foot then.
All right, hey Andy, you heard me in the intro. Scottie, I mean, the inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to him, but I just think this is worst case scenario the way this whole thing played out. He had a good week. It was never in question. I just think there are better ways to do this, and it just made for such an uninteresting weekend of golf that we've seen in the past has been, compelling and interesting. But this time around, with all those, insurance strokes that he earned coming in, it just made for a boring weekend.
Kirk, the Morikawa challenged him briefly, if you would say. I think he got within, what was it, 4 shots? And that was it. After the shank, which, by the way, I think Scottie handled that absolutely epic in the presser when asked about his shank.
I mean, if you don't shank, you're not trying hard enough, right?
This is true.
I couldn't help but notice, as a Texan, I mean, I was like, is this a Byron Nelson moment that we're watching? I mean, part of me felt it was more destiny than it was the fact that it was boring. I know many of you non-Texans, and Andy, even though he's Houstonian, spits at us Texans because he's from the Boston native area, and they're just better people than us. But what did you guys think about him pulling up the spirit of Byron Nelson? I mean, maybe someone had to do it, and Scottie's one of those guys that just kind of nonchalantly just wins.
Yeah. I mean, Christian, did you see the image of him with all the hardware and the trophies and holding the baby and maybe even in a I don't know, prison garb?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, he had an unbelievable year, first and foremost. I'm not even surprised that he won. But I think for me, I wanted to tip my hat more to Sahith personally with how well he played. I think he was 19 under in those 4 days. He beat everybody in the tournament. They started at even par. He was the winner of that tournament, I think, if I remember seeing it correctly.
I believe Morikawa was.
Oh, Morikawa. Okay, so I mean,
think it was close though. It was within a shot.
Yeah. It would have been a huge disappointment, I think, if Scottie didn't win. First off, but I mean, again, it was over on Friday. I mean, the weekend, all he had to do was just coast, and that's exactly what he did. And the fact that he hit that shank out of the bunker, and the next thing you know, he rips off 3 straight birdies after that. Like, I mean, you just can't compete with that. I mean, you can, but like every birdie Morikawa would make, Scottie matched him.
Right.
So
And that seems to be like his thing, right? Like he faces adversity and like and he's not bulletproof. I mean, he goes through little stretches of looks like he's falling apart, but like you said, bang, 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 birdies, it's like what shank,
yeah.
Well, maybe it's that 12-inch putt. I don't know, but that seems to be the only spot that he's.
I've seen him miss those too, but what's interesting is I always thought bounce back was the most important stat on the PGA Tour. I mean, Scottie, I don't know if he's number one, but he's got to be close. I mean, when he rattles off a bogey, he's right back into red figures. And now I see bounce back as when I birdie, I'm definitely going to bogey the next hole. I mean, that's a bounce back, back to where you should be. But in this case of Scottie, it's a bounce back to red figures, and he's unshattered. I mean, you just can't shatter that guy.
I mean, any of you guys, I mean, 62.5 million, 7 wins, first time since it was Tiger or who else? Did VJ do that one time? But hell, Ted Scott has more earnings this year than I think Jack did in his career.
He has more earnings this year than Jordan Spieth.
Well, I think he was number 6 or 7 on the list.
Christian, you got 2 Texans on the phone on here. You might want to tone it down on Jordan Spieth a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, he's the best golfer that ever lived. He just hasn't shown it again back. He's just not back yet.
There's one Texan.
I mean, as a Longhorn, we say that. You have to say that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's one Texan on this phone call that I'm not even remotely afraid of, and he's wearing a Patriots hat today. Just kidding.
Oh, hey, shameless plug. This jail cell I look like. I'm in a New England hotel right now for trying to broker a golf course. But hey, anyway, Andy, you mentioned a different format. I saw guys like Dan Rappaport and other people mention that online also. You got any suggestions? I mean, I already solved the Olympic issue, so you got to take care of this one.
Yeah, you did solve the Olympic thing. But look, I think one of the best formats in golf is the Western Amateur. And what they do at the Western Amateur, they play 72 holes of stroke play, and then 4 guys qualify for match play. I believe that's correct. It might be 8 people, but I thought it was 4. Regardless, something that would allow them to give the strokes earned going into the final in the stroke play portion. And then once you settle on the final 4 people, go play, semis and finals and match play and play it out. And I get how match play can be problematic for TV if it's a blowout, you got an hour and a half of dead air, but I don't know. I just think there needs to be a little bit more like just suspense and drama to what ends up happening.
Kirk, anything?
I mean, I was talking to the COO of the Epson Tour, Jody, who's awesome guy. And the reality is it's just a confirmation. If you go to PGA Tour, you go to Live, you go to, I said Live. Oh, it's a new golf tournament, new people. Y'all might not know about it. Live's a new golf thing. LPGA, the challenge is millennials and Gen Z don't watch it. They have, Bryson DeChambeau has more followers, and the YouTube influencers and creators have more followers than the PGA Tour, Live, LPGA combined. So while I think some of us Christian, he's the future. So the rest of us are 1 foot in the grave. We're not even watching this bullshit. It's not interesting. So the challenge is, and we've heard there's a golf only network that is dying, and partly it's because their viewers are dying. So I think in some cases it's not the format per se, It's the fact they're completely missing the demographic that does not consume content the way we consume content. And they're not never watching Thursday, Friday of an event, not even Saturday unless it's a major. They might turn it on for Sunday, maybe. And that's one of the big challenges in professional golf today is they're not figuring out how to attract the younger demographic that consumes in a much different way. And it has to be faster, more interaction, and it's just not there. And it's going to be hard to get there. What do you think, Christian?
I mean, Liv
You're
is an
even
interesting
tuning
one.
out on the podcast. I see it.
I would say Liv is an
out on us
interesting
all
one.
the time. Is it?
He's like, "What up?"
I'm never out of it. I'm
Watching.
always listening. So Liv's an interesting one because I very much I can't stand it personally.
Have you ever been to one now?
No, I've never been to one.
Exactly.
Wait,
Wait till you go to one and your mind will be blown.
I've been very vocal about this on the show dating back for a couple of years. I hated Bryson. Thought couldn't stand him. Right. This was years ago.
This was Bryson 2.0.
Yeah.
As opposed to Bryson 3.0.
One thing that you said though that was very true is that I think Bryson is the most likable person now and all of golf, personally. There's other guys you can make an argument for, right? But I think Bryson has done more, I think, viewership for the game within these last few months, specifically with his Break 50 series and YouTube Golf and that kind of stuff. I think that he's done a lot, but he's grown on me a little bit. I'm not going to say a lot, but he's grown on me a little bit. So, I do think, I don't know. That's just kind of like my thought. I think eventually they're going to merge. I just don't know when, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future with Liv and the PGA.
Well, Kirk, I'll tell you what, we were going to save it a little bit, but I love where you taking this. PGA Tour Radio, what you've done. What is the future of entertainment in golf from your perspective?
No idea, zero idea. But
okay,
I mean,
that was a short segment. That was great.
But I've raised quite a bit of capital to go build a new network. I'm going to just throw the theory out. Christian, we got a live millennial on the phone. He can actually call the bullshit detector. The good golfers on the left side of my screen can nod or go, well, I don't know. But this is the idea. I believe that millennials and Gen Z do not consume content the way we did. They're watching YouTube for their golf. They're watching Instagram for their golf, and they're getting snippets real time. Number one, I think that they're dying for experiences. So one of the challenges in social media is I can follow Bryson or Gabby Powell. I can like their stuff, but they're not going to talk back to me. And I think that there's this desire for social experiences, and social media can do that. But what I think is missing is they need a place where they can go to connect with other golfers. Now, we do that at our private club. We do that in some of our virtual clubs. But there's no place that's really big enough where I can connect. There's YouTube, but again, it's one direction. But if I can connect in a network with other like-minded golfers, meet people, have great experiences, and consume awesome content, that's what I'm trying to build. So we're trying to build a social network in golf for millennials and Gen Z, and we're trying to build awesome content. And we're shooting a reality TV show in 2 weeks, or actually in 11 days at Champions Golf Course in Houston, where Andy and I play. And we're taking the top 16 social media influencers in golf, 8 men, 8 women, and we're putting them through the grinder of, are they good golfers? Number one, can they handle challenges when they get beaten down? The interpersonal interactions, but we're trying to make really quick, interesting type of content. It's going to be 12 episodes. So you've got the whole, it's a reality TV show that's episodic, but every episode is going to be challenges and I get knocked down. And it's not just golf, because I think what millennials and Gen Z are looking for is I want to connect with these people. So we're actually going to do these exclusive events where we invite our fans, if you will, to these events. But in the reality show, it's going to be fast. It's going to be these people that they follow already. And it's going to really show who are these people behind, like, how did they become social media stars? what do they say to their caddies? Because we're going to have caddies mic'd up, and we have a few Champions guys, but I have a lot of River Oaks caddies, professionals that are going to be there. We're going to mic everyone up so people can hear, like, effing Andy Hydorn. He was in my line, and that asshole, look what he did to me. So the big challenge that we're trying to make here is YouTube owns it today, and so does Instagram and TikTok. Can we aggregate and curate content for millennials and Gen Z in a way that they'll actually leave Instagram, not forever, but they'll go and watch some of our content because they want to be part of the network, and we're putting long form content on there that they can consume that has their favorite stars in it. That's our theory. That's what we're trying to do. What say you?
I think that's awesome. And
I think that sounds cool.
one of the things that I loved about the Golf Channel years ago was, some of the production shows that they did, like Big Break. And the time came where they decided that it was too expensive to produce those shows, and I think they were left holding the bag because all they are now is, a bunch of talking heads at a desk or piping in footage of a random golf tournament somewhere. But I think long before YouTube golf became a thing, the Big Break was a thing.
Huge.
And
we're recreating some of
it.
Maya Tanaka, who was on the Big Break, will be one of our female stars. But we have all, Gabby Powell's one of them. She had 120 million views. She was in Munich doing a long drive contest, and a shaft broke over her back. And people are eating that up. It's 3 seconds long. But I think you need to create this kind of content that's real interesting that us traditionalists would never even think about. Come on, guys, let's be honest. I mean, Alan and Andy and me, can't we, there are people that make a living that are just on YouTube hitting golf balls. That's how they make a living. It's crazy, but people want to see that. And so why don't we give the people what they want? But what you need to do, though, you need to have a loyalty or rewards program that gives them access to unique experiences. Golf Digest has done a great job of I can become an exclusive golf course reviewer or equipment reviewer, but we're going to do it based on engagement. So Christian, he might be a plus 20. He's ugly to watch on course, but if he's super involved in our network, we might say, hey, Christian, as a plus 20, we want to know, what do you think of these new irons? And you're like, dude, I shanked everyone. So now I'm going to, I want to bring back the old Yonex clubs or whatever. But I think that there's a desire to connect with people that are like us. And we want to connect with people like the Gabbies. Maybe as men, we love them because they're pretty, or with the Brysons or with the Tim Mercers that has a 200-mile-an-hour swing. I think there's something changing that we just have not picked up on. That's crazy. And that's what we're trying to do. And I hope that, we're successful, but if we're not, you'll have me back on the show and I'll tell you who else to blame besides myself, because it's never my fault when I miss a 1-footer ever. It's the equipment. Someone was in my line. Someone was talking to me.
Superintendent put the pin in the wrong spot. Yeah.
I mean, the grain, it's always someone else's fault.
Well,
all right, Christian, you're on the hot seat right now.
It's fine. I can take it all day long. No, I'm kidding. But everything that you're saying though is accurate. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything that you are saying right now. And I think I was a huge Big Break fan when I was on, right? I loved watching it. And I think doing something, and I honestly kind of missed that show, to be honest, because it was so cool to see different types of drills that were being done and, all of that stuff. But I think it's going to be awesome to kind of see, what happens, because I just watched a YouTube video literally on a flight recently, or excuse me, when I got home from a trip, and it was Rick Shields, and he had bones on his bag. I want seeing kind of how they talk.
Number one YouTuber in golf is Rick Shields, by the way.
Yeah, sure. And I love watching his videos, right? And
yeah, but Christian, if I get, you're more the traditionalist millennial.
He is.
But without question, yeah. I mean, you have guys here that
you're not the guys that are coming out to my course and going, bro. I'm gonna
the Bro Brothers,
bro. I'm gonna scarf me a dog and pound me a tranny.
Not there's anything
No.
wrong with that, Christian. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, bro.
No, that'll never be me. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's guys out there that like I got a couple buddies of mine that I know that like they live, breathe, and die by live, right? They love it. They think it's like the best thing ever that's happened in sports, like and all that stuff, right? Whether I agree with them or not, you know, they're the type of kids that say, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, "What's up, man? How are you?" Like that's just who they are, obviously. So
Yeah, but
I've been to a few live events, and I'll tell you, I went on a listening tour at 2 live events, and I've probably talked to 100 people, all millennials or Gen Z. And number one, have you ever been to a golf tournament? No, 99%. What do you think of this? Amazing! Like guys are parachuting before the first hole, and there's live music, and it's so made for them. As a traditionalist, I know why everyone hates it. They hate the format, they hate everything. And the TV product could be much better. But 99 out of 100 people have never been to a golf tournament. So they're clearly appealing to somebody that's like PGA Tour, not for me, it's stuffy or whatever. Liv has figured out how to tap into that. Now, if their TV product could get better, that would be maybe a different story. But I think they're doing something and reaching someone new that they haven't done before. Andy?
No, I just feel like you know, even on Foreplay, they were saying the other day that nobody cares about live, and I get it. There are those people that do care. I think there's a tribalistic nature to it, right? You know, you pick one side or the other, and I don't know a whole lot of people that are kind of like, oh, I love the PGA Tour and live. Those people just don't exist, right? You're either out there or you're not. Well, you're quite an interesting individual yourself. So,
Well, I just got out of prison, so that helps.
yeah.
No, I will say, but here's what Full Swing has shown us. If Joel Dahman can be the 100th player on tour, and is one of the most famous guys at these golf tournaments because of Netflix, then I think the tour is contractually has to struggle with this because they don't allow their players to own their social media inside the ropes, whatever. Liv is allowing that. If Bryson can break out a Liv and just be Bryson, if some of these other Liv guys figure out the model, this is something I was talking to the LPGA about, is if they can figure out how to train their people to be better on social, which all the creators on social media have figured it out, that might change the game. Then it moves away from live as the brand and it comes to like, oh, I want to watch my favorite live player. And there's a new actually league that's being started of creators. So it's a new professional golf league where all the social media creators are playing in professional golf, but instead of it being broadcast by a network, each star is bringing their own crew. And so I don't watch the network broadcast. I'm thinking of Gabby Powell because she's in our show and we were just talking about her, but Gabby will be broadcasting from her point of view. And so I might just watch her channel in this professional golf league. But I think if Liv figures that out, that's going to be a game changer because no longer are you sort of, I love the league, you love the player, and maybe you watch more of it because of the player. What do you think?
Well, I feel like Bryson has 3 personalities, right? He's got his live personality, he's got his majors personality, and he's got his YouTube personality, right? I think he's wildly successful on YouTube. And Christian and I both feel like, you know, we personally come a long way toward liking him way more since he started to do that. I think his live personality is just like by far the least interesting because he doesn't really, it's not like he plays great in his live events. He's there doing it as part of his job, but I just think those, to your point, Kirk, that like the personal, you know, experiences that some of these guys are putting together themselves, I think carries way more weight than anything else does anymore.
I think to make the reference back to like mainstream media, everybody's consuming their information completely different. X, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, if you're in the mainstream media, you've got to be just shitting yourself right now. They're almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
Christian,
yeah, I agree. I think if Bryson, no, I think Kirk brings up a lot of good points, because like I feel like Bryson is the type of player today in the world of golf where if he ever did branch out by himself and just did YouTube golf for a living, and say, as an example, say he gave up professional golf and he just went straight to YouTube, he'd have a massive following on that. I think a lot of people would follow him. But go ahead, Andy. You're leaning in.
No, I was just going to ask
lean in.
I was just going to ask you a question. Like, do you think Bryson's become more popular because of what he's done on Live, or he's become more popular because of what he's done on YouTube?
YouTube.
Like, no question.
It's not even close. No, not even close.
Not even a question. Yeah.
But like when you look at the professional golfers in today's world, right? I'm gonna put Scottie up against Bryson. Scottie, like player wise, way better player in my opinion. Personality wise, I have to lean to Bryson because of what he's doing on YouTube. I don't ever see Scottie ever doing a YouTube channel like that where he's going to be funny and outgoing. That's just not Scottie, right? That's not his vibe. I feel like there's only a certain select group of players that you can actually do both. There's some guys on Live that can't do it, right? I don't think Brooks, or I don't even think John Rahm can do YouTube successfully just because of their personalities. But you have somebody like Phil who's severely fallen off the map, but he still has his YouTube. I have to tip my hat to Phil because his YouTube, some of his videos are actually good. Yeah. So, I think it's a interesting time in the game of golf, because there's so many avenues I feel like now that you can take with it. But I guess time will just tell how it's going to unfold.
So
when you get your tour card, they put you through media training. And I've always been a little bit critical of golf because the golfers they don't realize that their audience pays the bills. The sponsors pay the bills. Like, they don't really understand that. They're like, oh, I just want to be a professional golfer, so if I'm good. But the ones in the old days, like, they understood that. I think a lot of the 60s, 70s, 80s, guys like who I hired, Mark Carnevale, God rest his soul, like, he understood, like, the sponsors are the ones that are paying the bills. I think YouTube and this social media influence is changing the narrative back to forcing the tour, especially, and Live, like, wait a minute, we have to allow these people to become stars. Now, as a golfer, man, it's already the pressure just to try to be competitive is hard, but then you add the pressure of being famous. That's got to be unbelievable. But that's the price of entry now, I think.
Yeah. So Kirk, we haven't even mentioned the name of your new entity, which is.
It's changed. We're actually trying to be more edgy, and it's called Inspire Play. And Inspire Play, one word, Inspire Play. We're Inspire Play Company.
Love it.
We're all about inspiring play. Like, you're a big golfer, traditionalist, we want to inspire play. You're a person that doesn't really play golf, but you kind of love the lifestyle. We want to inspire play. We want to inspire you to get out there and enjoy being outside, getting to know other people, being positive. It's because we're trying to get away from, like, there's so much shit going down in the world. That's not where we're hanging out. We're like, if you want to inspire play and be around people that like to play, come to us. So that's what we're building. That's the name of it. We don't have a name for the show yet because we've been sort of battling on what's cool. But maybe I bet Christian come up with a good name.
I got your back. I can help.
Awesome.
Well, I think it's great what you guys are doing, and I think the world of golf as a whole needs it, and super excited to see above and beyond the first show that you're putting on what you guys end up doing, because I think it's going to be some cool stuff.
Kirk, do you think this whole influencer thing in the playoffs? Was this their first step for the PGA Tour, trying to turn the Titanic to allowing and recognizing the need for that?
Well, if you saw the trophy on the end, which had like it was taped to the trophy, like the paper sign, which was funny. It was on a grill. That's ridiculous. But I think where they went wrong is they took the top influencers and it was just a golf tournament. Like it's like the same product over and over again. What we're trying to do is really 3 or 4 things, because I think this is what Christian wants. And I'm building this network for Christian is you want to see good golf, but you want to see drama in the golf. Like we're having, and I'm giving this away because I'll let you know, but the first order of business when they show up at the chateau, they're staying down the street at this 30,000 square foot French chateau, which Andy, you probably know who built that, but we're going to have
at the end of Champions Drive.
Yeah, that's it.
No.
They're all staying. That's the cast. That's the cast house. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh my word.
And y'all are all invited to the Sunday party. So put it on your calendar on Sunday, September 15th. But we're going to have the men and the women force rank themselves of who's the best golfer. So they all have to force rank. And then we're going to basically choose batting order and matches based on these force ranks. But that already gets them thinking like, shit, why did everyone – I don't want to do this in our little group, Andy, because I know where I'm going to land. But it's going to create drama right there. It's like, shit, why did so-and-so get ranked at the bottom? That's embarrassing. That creates angst. And we're continuing every day to have these types of battles where they're going to have to show up, and it's going to be really fun. So one of the ideas that we're going to do is we're going to have them pick a club out of a hat, and that they have to play 3 holes and with that one club. But they don't know what club they're picking. It's not like, hey, what club would you play 3 holes with? No, you're picking out of a hat, and if it's a putter, you're you're screwed. You're screwed. So we're going to really gamify it and make it fun. But I think the other piece that's missing with the Creators Classic was you don't know anything about these people unless you follow them. But I would love to know. Like, I think the reason why we're talking about Bryson is that he did it, not the network, but Bryson became someone we liked because of some of the things he did. And Full Swing has done that. They've done a great job of like, man, I really like this person, or I really don't like based on watching the show. I think that's what people want to know is like, who are these people and what makes them interesting besides when they're on camera? I think they want to see the off camera stuff. And we're going to try to expose it. So hopefully we will.
I couldn't have said it better myself personally. I didn't get a chance to watch. I saw like obviously highlights on social media of the Creator Classic and whatnot, and I knew a lot of those guys and obviously girls that were playing in it, just because I follow them. But I think you were 100% correct. If you don't know who like Fat Perez is, for example, you might just think
I wanted to see him. He's hugely funny, but like there's nothing funny about watching him play golf.
Right. I mean that, but like if you don't know even like who. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, if you don't know any of the good guys, right? If you don't watch them, right, then obviously, like, you're going to think, like, well, what's the point? If they did kind of more of, like, a background of each player and kind of did, like, off-course interviews and stuff, because that's what we're all used to seeing if you do watch their videos, kind of like an everyday life of, like, what Bryson does when he wakes up to when he goes to bed and that kind of stuff, like, I do think that they were missing that, but I do think going back to Alan's point, I think it was step one into this whole new world of golf that we're going into.
I find it fascinating the development of Bryson. I mean, when he came on tour and then he went into, bulk up mode and the person he is today, and maybe it's the freedom of having the money and being out from underneath the tour's restrictions that are allowing him to do it. But I mean, he's engaging every opportunity. He uses it as a touch point to engage with the fans.
So whether, I have a question. So I was talking about this ironically with a buddy of mine on one of my trips that I had recently. And we were talking about Bryson, we're talking about YouTube golf, which is ironic. But if Bryson never left the tour, would he be this successful in YouTube golf? If Live was never a thing,
No, and
See,
I,
my buddy says yes. I say no, and we had a huge argument about it. A fun
well,
one.
Who
Not
won?
really.
Who won the argument?
Well, he'll say he won. I'll say that I won. It's kind
but
of like that
there's
5-footer
two
that you give.
there's two sides to that, right? Like Bryson is Bryson, and Bryson
Right.
showed himself to the world on YouTube, right? But there's, those, Garrett Clarks and Grant Horvats of the world who weren't anybody before this stuff. So you don't
Absolutely.
really know, um, you know, how successful somebody would be organically, without having the stardom that Bryson did have. So it's kind of a tough
No
argument to have.
way. Yeah, I think Liv. Well, his whole personality created drama anyway.
Yeah.
But no one knows. But it's hard. It's a talent. This is what I was talking to Epson Tour about. They were talking about, like, it's, if you're a professional golfer, it's not your talent to produce a video of yourself doing fun stuff. Like, that's a talent, and it's a skill that can be taught and trained. I think Bryson sought out people that helped him think about how to show himself on camera. Now he's also really good at it, but that's a hard skill.
Yeah, I think his early stuff wasn't that great, right? Like the stuff where he was at his house with the launch monitor trying to, get 200 ball speed or whatever. Like, yeah, blah blah. But he's evolved into something that's way more interesting now, with some of the things that
100%. Because you can't just turn a camera on and think that you're going to be amazing at it. Like, you have to have the personality to do it, right? You have to have the drive to do it. I've said it for months now that ever since Bryson left the tour, not only did he become a better, I feel like, person, he's become a better golfer on top of it. Like, and so he's thriving right now. And I'm sure he has a list at home of people that have reached out to him, famous people. I'm sure if it's somebody that's in the creator world that he wants to break 50 with, right? That, I think, has just broken the internet, because now you see everybody trying it. Ever since, I think it was, who was the first one to come out with it? Was it Brian Bros? I forgot who the first creators were that came out with it, but that's starting to break the internet right now.
And that's getting stale, and you have to continue to innovate, because that break 50 model is like, okay, I've seen it. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
But Bryson's also put a lot of focus on some of these long drive guys that were sort of no-namers, and now they're huge. They have huge followers because of Bryson. I mean, ultimately.
Yep. I think even, well, it's a mix of, I'm sure that, I don't know if we were going to talk about this or not, but the news that just broke today of the big match happening.
Yes, we are. If you stop getting them.
Sorry, my bad.
Christ.
Go for it.
I have one more question. So, Kirk, we're talking about the brand of the player. You touched on something. You go back to the yesteryear and the sponsors. I mean, there's nobody better than NASCAR when they roll out of their car and they stick a camera in their face and they start talking about, the interstate number 5 car was doing this and this and this and this, and they're throwing it back to the sponsors. Is that what you're saying, that the players are missing it by not promoting Epson or promoting FedEx or promoting those type of things?
I don't know, actually. I don't know where it's going. NASCAR used to be the world best example.
Well, they went off. They blew a tire also.
Yeah, they're struggling, but I think F1s are really, like, Netflix F1 series tripled the number of fans in the US for F1.
Wow.
And each F1 team, like, they Red Bull, a good example. Max Verstappen, they promote the individual and the team, and I think those. I mean, let's talk about Red Bull, for example, or the Ferrari team. You think about those brands because they're so integral into the success of those players. And that's true in golf. I'm like, what is Bryson? Well, I'll tell you Bryson's story in a second, if interesting, if we have time. But, if so-and-so plays Titleist, I want to play Titleist. Like, there's some of that, but these players are like, well, I need to get paid a lot of money to do it. That's sort of the traditional sponsorship. I'm saying more about, how do these people engage with the fans who could be sponsors, but also the fans create advertising dollars that the PGA Tour goes and negotiates rights for. It's you and me that I'm talking about. How do they engage with us? Because our future, Christian and younger, they want a real experience and they want a real relationship with these people that we'll never have and we never did have. But I think that's the price of entry now is, and that's what Bryson's doing. He's making it like, wow, I'm watching his shit because it's so fun and I feel like I'm there with them. No players of old are doing that. They don't know how to do it. And I just think that's what I mean. It's really around the advertising, which is you and me, versus the actual sponsors themselves, per se.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would also add to that too, that like it's a full-time gig, right? Like producing some of that stuff that Bryson does, and that's why it probably helps him being a live golfer where his schedule isn't every week, right? So if you are a PGA Tour golfer, you don't have time to do all that, right? Because it is a full-time gig to be able to continually produce compelling stuff, and they already have full-time jobs.
A very good example is that I've watched basically from the beginning. If you guys don't know who it is, but like Bob Does Sports, right? I've
I
watched
love
them
that.
since the
I
very
love that
beginning,
dude.
right?
He's
When it was Bobby and when it was Joey, right?
Yeah.
They had Jet behind the camera. It was just the three of them, right? They were just starting out. They still had jobs on the side. Now they've grown it to have obviously FP. They have multiple guys behind the lenses. And I just watched their recent one where it was a 3v3 when it was like literally everybody within Bob Does Sports. And you just see that, and it's like a full-time gig because those kids have to go home, do producing and all this. Like Andy said, it's literally a full-time job. Yes, the money is going to be there and the money will follow, but it's not just them waking up every day and be like, oh, cool, I'm going to go play, Harbortown Golf Club today. Oh, okay, cool, whatever. No, it's a nice life when you get to that point, obviously, but when you first start out, it's a grind, obviously.
Amen.
And now, Christian, the match.
Just saw it today. So I think this is what I think we were kind of, at least I was expecting something like this to happen. I think we kind of needed something like this to happen between Liv and the PGA. And to be honest with you, as far as just guys who are, you have a guy in Bryson, obviously, who loves the entertainment part of it. We've talked about him all show. His partner, arguably maybe one of the best smack talkers outside of Phil, I think. You got Brooks, and I think this is going to be fun to watch. Obviously, there's going to be probably very much betting odds when it comes to Scottie and Rory, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot more fun to watch than previous Capital One matches.
In Vegas.
And that's not really saying
in Vegas
much,
in December.
And they're totally playing off that tribalistic, live PGA Tour thing, right? They're gonna cash in on that one.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's gonna make it a monstrous event compared to the other match events that they put on.
So pending what happens,
yeah,
pending what happens after this, if they get like X amount of millions of views or dollars, whatever comes from this event, is there going to be more that happen down the road, or are we actually going to see eventually a live versus a PGA type of tournament style? I'm just asking. Because I don't know the answer.
Christian, you just said something because you're too young to know this, but the mastermind of this model is the World Wrestling Federation. They always cast villains, like you need villains, or they call them the heel. Like you need villains because people want to tune in. And that's what they finally figured out. It's like, we need villains. And the PGA Tour, which I actually I've been very impressed. They've done a great job of protecting their brand. Like there have been probably 60 DWIs over the time I was following PGA Tour of people getting drunk, but you never saw it in the press. And the PGA Tour did a great job of like protecting their players because they don't want their image to be brandished. But when you have money, comes fame, comes other stuff. And finally, like the wheels are off, it's like, we're going to, Bryson's carrying a 45 and he's going to cap somebody. And like, that's going to be awesome content. But I think in this match, they finally figured out you need villains to make it interesting.
And how funny is it that you have Brooks and Bryson playing together, and those two hated each other 4 years ago?
Or do they hate each other?
They probably still hate each other.
Where is BE when we need him?
Exactly.
We're talking wrestling. We need some Ric Flair. Woo!
Hey, I do know the World Wrestling Federation. There's nothing like a Dwayne Johnson turn of the heel and Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's nothing like that. But like that was, I'd argue it was 10 times better than what we have today in the WWE, personally.
You needed Hulkamania running wild, brother.
That's right.
Ripping it open. Yeah.
I didn't even think about it from that way. So Brooks and Bryson get to play the villain, or is Scottie and Rory the villains?
I mean, it depends on where. Like Rory's made Rory's made enemies because he became the mouthpiece of the PGA Tour, and he shouldn't have. And I don't know why he did, but he did. I think he's created villains, but he's also probably still the most loved golfer in golf today. I travel the world and I hear like people love Rory, so he probably has a lot less enemies. Yeah, I know you're one of them. You have Rory on your bag, and I'm like, that's not your name, Andy.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
And Scottie can't be a villain, so.
No,
Scottie's not a villain, and the way he handled going to jail, and I mean, I don't know if you saw during the last tournament, but he's getting a little teardrop put on his right eye. So he's clearly learned from the best, man.
That was a rough 6 hours. Yeah.
Oh. All right. Before we head to the hot seat, we should talk about the Curtis Cup just briefly. I mean, great golf course, epic win, UK Ireland. Hey, Andy, any thoughts?
I watched a little of it. Again, events and venues, right? I thought
Sunningdale looked amazing.
Sunningdale was incredible. All that heather out there is just, and again, like those events to me, like are compelling. I know who some of those players are. I know who Astra Talley is and Rachel Heck and some of those girls and Lottie Ward, but it doesn't matter who those people are. The event and the venue kind of makes for some interesting watching.
Boys, anything else? Christian?
I'm not going to lie. I didn't get a chance to watch any of it, but I'm going to have to go with my big brother on that one. So,
Kurt, did you catch any of the action over?
I did. I was in Scotland a few weeks back, and guy sees our champions bags. And it's like, or sees my champions bag, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, you're a champions guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Where are you playing World Dornick tomorrow?" And blah blah blah. Happens to be the husband of the Curtis Cup captain herself in the U.S. So he goes upstairs and runs back and gives me like 20 ball markers of Curtis Cup, Sunningdale, which was super cool. Now I have his number. So, I love the Ryder Cup type formats. To me, the best part of golf in my mind. I mean, I think it creates the most fun. I was in Valderrama during that Ryder Cup. I was the one up in Michigan. I love the Ryder Cup. It's the best event in the world. So Solheim Cup is another one. And I have this belief that I think women's golf is right about to hit the curve. I think for a few reasons. One, if you look at the influencers, the female influencers have more followers than the males. I wonder why. Christian, why is that? I don't understand. Why do females have more followers than the men?
They're just better golfers.
That's right. They're better golfers. Good answer. But I think if you tell their stories, I think you're going to get a real interesting change in this demographic where you're going to see women's golf go up. I believe it. I hope it's true because they're phenomenal stories out there. They're great golfers. And in fact, we have a little side bet on the reality shows. We're pairing the female versus the female winner versus the male winner. And a lot of people have money on the female winning. Like these women golfers are damn good. And so it'll be interesting. So the Solheim Cup is like, these women are phenomenal. It's fun to watch. So that's my view. It's like, they're so fun to watch. I wish I watched more, but TV coverage is really hard when it's unless you're the prime time.
As an operator of golf course, I mean, for years now, the female play segment has been the fastest growing segment, and I can tell you, every Saturday and Sunday from about 9:30 on till the end of the day, the core golfers are out there first thing in the morning, the diehards. But after that, it's Christian's age and their girlfriend,
Love it.
and they're all every weekend, and it's great.
I
Younger
mean,
guys,
Andy always has these hookers, but they're always new. Like I don't know who they are, but I don't know where he finds them. But he has always three hookers. And I don't know. We should say something to him, but it's kind of like that's his deal. It's like it's Andy. He's quiet. And,
Andy, you hit a fade though.
Now when Kirk sees me, I don't.
well, he goes off a hole 1, and we never see him afterwards. Not sure what they're doing back there. But hey.
Okay.
Is it time to put my friend Kirk on the hot seat?
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah. So, okay, there, young man. We're gonna throw these fast and furious at you, and just whatever answer comes to your mind is great. There are no wrong answers.
Oh gosh, that means yeah. Let's call out the idiot in the room. Okay, got it. Let's go.
Okay, the first one is you can puff out your chest and tell us what's your lowest 18-hole score.
65.
Nice. Kirk is a good player, fellas, by the way. I get to watch that quite often. So what are your 3 favorite courses that you've played?
National Golf Links of America, just for the lobster lunch. And the fact it's probably the best match play course in the world. I've got to say I love Champions. It really is like because I grew up there and it just has a history that's amazing. And you always beat my ass when we play it. So I've got that angst in me. And I love Turnberry, actually. That's become one of my favorite courses.
Fabulous. So what 3 courses have you not played that are the top of your list?
I mean, Cypress Point for sure. Ben Crenshaw told me, I said, what's your favorite course in the world? He said, Cypress. I was like, oh, that's mine now. Second would probably be, had the chance to play, but didn't, is Fisher's Island.
Oh, yeah.
And then third is probably Pine Valley. I'll throw it out there.
Yeah. All right, so name the 3 best golfers of all time in no specific order.
Andy Hydorn for sure. After Andy, I would probably say, I want to say like Ben Hogan probably was one of the best golfers of all time. He mastered something that I think he just had, I mean, whatever. But I think Ben Hogan, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. I'd love to see Scottie come up to close to those records, but we'll see. Guys that can do it over many generations is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So what is the best part of your game?
The 19th hole, bud. You know that.
Fair enough. What skill is most important to play good golf?
Something I don't have, so I would just say what I've been told is a good mental game.
Okay. Popular answer. Who's your favorite golfer, past or present?
Andy Hydorn.
All right, enough of that.
I love Longhorns. I mean, I'm not like a diehard. I mean, I went to UT and I love University of Texas, blah, blah, blah. But I do love, the Ben Crenshaws. I do love Scottie Scheffler. Those are probably my 2 favorite current golfers because I just going to that school and knowing their history and being around those types of guys, that's fun. That's fun to me.
Yep. Okay, get your nostalgic cap on. So we want you to quickly describe the best shot you've ever hit. Time, place, and situation.
Yeah, it goes back to I was 16. It was a state qualifier, and I had the shanks on the range. And I was on the left side of the range. I kept shanking it across everyone, so it was terrible. And I think I finished in 44 in the front 9, and I finally just was like gutted out, and I shot 34 in the back. And I qualified. I was the last qualifier. But I made a putt at Falcon Point in Houston. It's like an island, has an island green. And I was like, basically it was a 100-foot putt. And I was like, I either make it or it's going in the water. And I made that putt. And so even though I love great ball striking, when you make a putt that long and it saves your ass, I'm like, that's the one shot I'll always remember.
That's awesome. Awesome. So what do you cherish the most about the
Wait a
game
minute,
of golf?
you tin cupped it on the range?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
so embarrassed. I was like, everyone was like, who is this guy? What small town did he come from? Because clearly he doesn't know how to play. I was like, wow.
Hey, some of the guys down the range are getting a little nervous.
Yeah.
Intimidated him. That's how you do it. All right.
All right,
What
so
was the last question?
what do you cherish the most about the game of golf?
I love competitive, but the real answer is golf is a game to be enjoyed with people you care about or people I've never played with, but I love meeting people. And when I forget about that, I think I lose some of the love of the game when I'm trying to be too competitive versus just like, I'm just enjoying the walk. It's a great walk. Some say it's a good walk spoiled, but to me, just being with you guys, even if I'm in my own head, I love being around it and I enjoy every moment. That's to me is why golf is so fun, just being together.
Awesome. Extra credit question. How many holes in one do you have to your name?
I have 2.
All right. Well, listen, you survived the Quiet Please hot seat. You performed rather admirably.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Christian, 18th green. Final thoughts.
So I second to what Kurt said. I think I would love to that some of the best rounds of golf that I've played recently are just having fun. You crack open a drink, you have a cigar if you're into that, listen to some music, relax. So, like, it's just, that's kind of what golf is all about for me, at least in my life at this point. So I agree with you on that one. Secondly, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. We greatly appreciate it. I personally, off air, want to continue the conversation and keep in touch because I think it's fascinating what you're doing, and I think it's amazing. And I can't wait to see the success that you're going to be bringing to the game of golf moving forward. And the last thing I want to say is I've never seen Andy play golf, but I feel like you're the type of person that can get in his mind if he's over a 5-footer to miss it. Is that correct or no?
I've never seen Andy miss a 5-footer.
Well,
Andy,
that match is coming against Andy and I, and we're going to break records.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to know.
Andy
I
has
need
that,
all the advantage.
Has that like claw grip thing. And I'm like, I just don't understand it. So how do you get in his head when I'm literally looking at him going, I can't do anything. I can't say anything because I'm looking at the grip going, it's so weird.
There's a method to the
I have no idea.
I need all the ammunition I can gather before. I don't know when this is happening, but I will be in Houston probably next year for work. So I will most likely have to bring my clubs and we can play 18 holes.
Well, we'll make sure Kirk's there as well.
I need to warn you, he's a mass hole, so you got to be very careful because he could put that putter right in the side of your temple if you do get in his way. So you got to be a little bit like, is it worth a putter in the face? I mean, that's kind of the question you need to answer.
Yeah. I've always been told in my life, let my sticks do the talking. So Papa Dupes has seen it before firsthand. Nothing gets in my head on the golf course. And I have a...
Really?
He's a player.
Alan knows.
Kid's a player.
Alan knows.
Are you saying, Christian, you can shoot 85 like the best of them? Because that's what that means.
Absolutely. I shoot anywhere, and this is God honest truth. I will shoot anywhere from 66 to 82. It just depends on the day. And that's just after college golf was done, I just stopped basically caring about what I shot on a Saturday or Sunday because I just had fun. That's
what I say every time I shoot 85. Hey, I don't even care about my score.
Now, when I play with Andy, that might be
my mother loves me.
Whatever, I'm firing at every single pin when I play against Andy, and we're gonna have a little side match for who makes more birdies.
Hey, Christian, let me warn you right now, your mother does love you. So number one. Number two is Andy is not easily rattled. He's got a really good game, and it's a game that's hard to he's not very variable. Like you, it sounds like you and I can go. He doesn't do that. He's always center fairway, bogey, maybe.
It's kind of sickening, isn't it? It really is.
It's not fun golf.
No.
I can't wait. I can't wait for him.
He doesn't
I
even
can't
know what
wait
a
for-
tree sounds like. He doesn't
The
know what
stats,
a rough sounds like, stuff
the
like that.
stats do not bear out this
Well,
conversation.
Dude, you hit
Andy-
every fairway on Saturday or Monday. How many fairways did you hit on Monday, Andy? Every one.
I did hit 10 on Monday, which was a big day for me.
I can't wait for the
guys,
first tee box.
he drove every fairway at a what do we pay, 7,200 on Monday? Hit every fairway. So that does help.
I can't wait for his first tee shot to go just an absolute snap hook in the left rough, hit it in the green side bunker, and then he makes a bogey while I stiff it to
You're
5
still
feet.
playing 7,200 yards, you old bastard. It's just impressive to me.
Because we play with guys that are stubborn. They force us to do it.
Jesus.
Exactly.
But did you know this? Have y'all talked about on the show that Andy has a tool where he takes normal tennis shoes and makes golf shoes with cleats? Does y'all know this about him?
No, but
you can make any
social.
shoe. You can make any shoe into a golf shoe.
Yeah.
He's
They're
got like a
I
wicked.
see those. I
How
have them
many
upstairs.
shoes? Really?
I swear to God, it's a little box that it comes in, and you literally have the spikes, and you have a screwdriver, and you yeah.
You got it.
I was
I
trying
know
to give you ammo for Andy, and now you're like, dude, I do that too. So like, you're screwed, Christian. Hey, Alan, let's take a little wager. I'm gonna put, at least I'm gonna put some quid on Andy right now until I see Christian play.
I don't know. I have had the pleasure of playing golf with both of them. It would be a very good match. It would be.
I'm only saying that because I know Christian will win and I'll lose and I'll get to blame Andy. That's the only reason I said that.
I don't. All I can say is consistency versus hangover. He walked on the tee with a hangover, no practice swings, borrowed my sticks and striped it.
Volatility by the young man.
I will say, I may not hit 10 fairways in a round. I don't think I've ever hit 10 fairways in my life in a round, and I probably never will. But I will hit 18 greens all day long.
Okay.
That's the best part of my game is the iron.
Dude,
you give me a
you're
4-iron
invited.
From 220, 210, I'm hitting it inside 15 feet every time. That's my confidence level of my irons.
Yeah, but
what was it?
Andy, final
Hey,
thought.
Scottie.
So my final thought, I'm going to play grumpy old man here for a second. So one of the rounds this past weekend, we played with a really nice young man. It's about 6'4", really strong, just absolutely just swings that golf club so fast and so hard, but he has no idea where it's going. And it just surprises me that, well, I guess it shouldn't surprise me, that at the end of the day, a lot of these younger kids who are playing the game now are just literally out there trying to hit it as hard as they can. Whether they have an 8-iron in their hand or a driver in their hand, they don't know where it's going. So it's just kind of funny watching, like when we were young growing up, everybody was admiring the person who had the smoothest golf swing, and now everybody's swinging for the fences, and it's pretty funny. But Kirk, hey, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show tonight. We wish you nothing but the best of luck in your new venture. I think you have a great background and great instincts toward what you're doing in the media world, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success.
Well, let's hope so. But that's the plight of do what you love, and if you're good at it and it actually solves a problem people are willing to pay for in the quantity necessary to make money, it can happen. But it's worth the journey. So especially in golf, it's like, man, this is fun to be around, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and hopefully I'll get to come back after we have something to say.
Kurt, any final thought, or was that it?
That's it, man. You're invited, all invited down to Houston to play golf with us, and you're invited to Nantucket in the summer because there's some great links. Can y'all make Nantucket golf summer Nantucket golf? Because there's some great links up there if you've never played.
We can make that happen, and I can try to make a phone call on Pine Valley for you.
Well, awesome. And we'll do a show up in Nantucket this summer. How about that?
I like that idea. All right.
Live.
My final thought, I told her I'd give a shout out. Chrissy Ortiz, Georgian Court University, qualified for the U.S. Women's Mid-Am at Brayburn, your neck of the woods, Andy. And good luck to you, Chrissy, and all the participants up there in the Boston area. Christian, hit it long and straight because
it beats Andy hitting it short and crooked on the first tee.
Oh, no.